All right, we had a little bit of a delay. What is my first stream since this season? I'm pretty sure this is probably my first stream since the season. I see we got RoboCop in the chat. Okay, we got 3 people in here. I wasn't sure how many people will be on. We're basically in the middle of the day, kind of getting towards the end of the day now at like 2:50. But the Giants have gone ahead and signed Paulson Adebo. The numbers I'm seeing range from anywhere from 3 years, 30, and people said that was wrong. And the official number looks to be 3 years, 54 million. So 54 mil, 3 years, that puts him at about 18 mil per year. And I mean, that's about what you pay for a starting corner. I mean, I think we paid Bradbury like 16 million a year, and this was like 5 years ago. So I have no problem with that deal at all. Paulson Adebo is one of the better cornerbacks in football. A lot of people don't really see him. Uh, they haven't really seen a lot of him, but he's one of the better cornerbacks in football. I wouldn't say he's like a top 3 guy or a top 5 guy, but he's definitely, in the top 12 to 15, 12 to 16 in free agency. You got to get somebody out here that's competent. So definitely a starting level cornerback. Paulson Adebo is a guy, he can be our starter. And he's also not, to that Jalen Ramsey, not Ramsey now, but to that top level of corner to where there would be no way that Deontay Banks could ever become cornerback one. So at the very least, I could see us, or in the best case scenario, if Deontay Banks turns things around, I could see him being that cornerback 1A and cornerback 1B. So to give you some stats on Paulson Adebo, 51.7% completion percentage allowed. That's 13th. That's 13th in the league. Yards per target, 5.9. That's 11th in the league. And with context, that's a really great number. Passer rating, 71.2, 10th in the league. And this is 10th. And when I say 10th and 11th and 16th, there are there's 64 starting cornerbacks, outside cornerbacks in the league, and he's 13th, he's 11th, he's 10th. Okay. Forced incompletions, 14 forced incompletions last year. That's tied for 6th in the NFL. So he got his hands on the football, and that was by far our biggest weakness for the year. Interceptions, 3 interceptions. That's fine. That's a solid number. 12 pass breakups last year, 12th in the NFL. Negative 0.18 EPA per target. That's top 15. Total EPA, negative 12.3. That's top 10. I'm just going to go down to all of these advanced stats, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Run stop rate, 4.1%. So that's slightly above average. Not anything crazy, but shows he's not a weakness against the run. And last year against the run, the Giants were horrible at cornerback against the run last year. 8.3% missed tackle rate. So he's in the top half, but of course we want to get that rate down, but in the top half of the league. So he'll help. He'll be a positive influence to that secondary there. Yards after contact allowed, 1.7 yards after contact. So that's top 20. So not the best, but towards the top. Again, when we say top 20, we're not talking out of 32, we're talking out of 64. Zone coverage. Now, I would say that Adebo is a man coverage corner. He's played a lot of man, but if you go back to college, I did a film session on him, I think 2021. If you go back to college, he played a lot of zone. But in the NFL, he's excelled in man coverage. But in zone coverage, he's allowing a 71.2 passer rating. So, that shows you there. Negative 0.18 EPA per target. So he's solid in zone coverage. I wouldn't say it's his absolute strength, but he's going to be the best guy immediately, day one. He's going to be a top half of the league guy in zone coverage. And in those third downs, in those situations where we do need to man up, he is going to be all over the receiver. He's going to be all over the receiver. Again, the ball skills are there. The physicality is there. Just to give you a little bit of context on his height and weight, he's 6'1", 192. So he's got the proper height. He's got solid weight. And I think he's going to be a good addition to the secondary. Now, I haven't seen anybody else that the Giants have signed today. But I am hearing some rumors that since Justin Fields just went to the Jets, it's looking like Aaron Rodgers is probably going to. Let's see. I just saw a joke. I thought that was real news. Anyway, it's looking like Aaron Rodgers is going to go probably somewhere else. It's looking like Justin Fields, like I said, he just signed on the Jets. So the Giants quarterback solutions are dwindling. And we're hearing that the Giants are going to try to move heaven and earth to go to number one to get Cam Ward. And that may mean multiple first round picks. A lot of people, if you caught me on Big Blue in the Bronx's stream on Saturday, none of us on there wanted to trade multiple first round picks and seconds. And none of us wanted to do that to move up to take Cam Ward. But it's looking like it's going to take next year's one. It's probably going to take a 3 this year. It's probably going to take, something like a 2 or 3 next year. So we're going to have to move a lot to go up to number one because it's looking like the Titans want to take Cam Ward, or at least they're making it appear like they want to. And that can't be the best for one to trade up to number one. So it's official now. The Giants have officially posted that they've agreed to terms. You're not going to see any official numbers from the Giants because it's pending a physical, first off, and it's still the tampering period. So remember also, folks, this tampering period, you can see a contract come together, and in 2 days, you can see that contract fell through because the guy didn't pass a physical because nothing is signed yet. So all of these are like 85% done, like 85% of the time, 90% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time, these deals are done. But there is that small percentage chance that none of these, that one of these signings could be, not true. So, how are you all feeling about Paulson and Debo? I'm going to take a look at the chat. RoboCop says, does that mean no Travis Hunter? Now, if we don't move up to number one, and the rumors are true that the entire league doesn't like Shador Sanders, which I don't think is true. But if those rumors are true, and we have to pick between a guy like let's say Abdul Carter goes number 2, Shador is there, but the Giants don't like him. You're looking at Mason Graham, Will Johnson coming off the injury, and Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter is still very much in play. He could still be, that outside receiver for us. He could be a guy that plays corner. I feel like they could find something for him. What's going on, Greeny? We brought in Paulson and Debo. I just went over a lot of his numbers. But he's basically a corner that is about 6'1", about 195, somewhere around that. And he is a guy that is going to immediately make the secondary better. Good tackler, solid tackler, great in man coverage, solid in zone coverage, and really a bump and run type of player. So let's see what Shane Bowen is going to do because I imagine he had input with this. So let's see what he does. We didn't run a lot of bump and run, but again, Adebo can basically he can play in any scheme, especially in a cover 3. If we can stay in this cover 3 screen, and he gets on the line of scrimmage and gets physical, I can see this looking really good, especially if they let Deontay Banks get back on the line. Any O-line rumors? I haven't seen anything. Now, I have seen the thing about Will Fries or Will Freeze, whatever you want to say his name. I've seen a lot of different things. My only problem with him is he just had his breakout season and he played 5 games this past year. So we're betting on him continuing to play how he played over a 5-game stretch. And I'm not sure that I want to pay top dollar for a guy that just had a nice 5-game stretch. Really good 5 games, but only 5 games last year for him. So that's kind of concerning for me. I'm still looking at a guy like Aaron Banks. I'd love to, I'd love to go out and get a vet guard. I wouldn't be upset if we signed Will Fries, but I would kind of be cautious of it. No Russell Wilson. I'm not really a fan of Russell Wilson coming here either, or Aaron Rodgers. But maybe they're our best shot at competing in the short term. But I don't think either one of those players have shown that they can be good for a locker room. Exactly. And Justin Fields is over on the Jets now. He got $20 million a year. I was not expecting that. I was thinking he might get like 13, 10, 8, 9, something like that. But Justin Fields got $20 million over 2 years to go play for the Jets. That's a lot of money. A lot of money right there for Justin Fields. Happy for him. And now we're hearing Aaron Rodgers. This is from Connor Hughes. Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers might be done sooner than expected. So it's looking like Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler in short order. Let's see what else we got here. Nothing else new for the Giants. Cam Bynum, a nice safety that the Giants could have possibly been targeting. He's on the Colts now. Uh, Daniel Jones is still out there. Apparently, the Colts have been pursuing Daniel Jones pretty heavily, but he's still out there on the market. I'm not saying he'd be back here, but you all get what I'm saying. Just keeping tabs on him. I'd be fine with a Winston Bridge. I'd be fine with that. I think it'll be exciting. I think he would cost like $5-6 million a year. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think he'd be a great mentor. I think that makes a ton of sense. And Winston, he's gonna turn the ball over. But if Dable can get Winston to play really great football to where he's being productive, he's throwing 300 yards, 400 yards in games, then it kind of shows that if he can get that type of production out of Jameis, then that means that the quarterback play here just has been that bad, and it's not Dable. But if Jameis got here and Jameis started throwing for like 180 and a touchdown every couple weeks, then Dable is a joke. Let's see. I'm not even sure. I'm kind of on the fence if I want Jackson Dart at this point because I really feel like we could take this year if we go out and get a vet quarterback like Jameis Winston. I would want to use those high picks, and this isn't me saying like if we can get Cam Ward, I'm all for it. I'd even take Shador Sanders. But if we don't get Shador Sanders and we don't get Cam Ward, I think after that, in the second round, I would just use that pick to continue to build out the roster. And I would take a guy in like the fourth round. You'll have your choice of Will Howard, Tyler Shuck. What's the other guy's name? A guy I really like. I really like the way he plays. High school prodigy. Quinn Ewers is who I'm thinking of. So I would take a guy in the third or fourth round, and I see I'm frozen on the screen. That is unfortunate there. So hopefully I can get back on. But I would be looking at a guy in the third or fourth round if we don't get one of the top two quarterbacks, because that way we can let them sit behind a guy like Jameis Winston, let him develop, and let's see where that goes. Because if the guy sits for 10, 9, 10 games plus, or sits for the whole year, you're letting him actually develop. What's going on, Vinny? My camera, as always, is acting crazy. I was literally using this camera for something else. Literally like an hour ago, and I had no issues with it keeping up. But all of a sudden, here I jump on stream, and we got some issues. Let's see what else we got in the chat while I try to get this camera ready. Adebo, I read off a lot of his advanced stats, but Adebo, I think, is a really good player. He's not a top, like I say, he's not a top 5 corner, but he's a top 12, top 13 corner. And to get that guy, to get that guy is good. If you can get a top 15 corner in a league where you have 64 starting corners, you got a good player. And this camera is just completely shot here. Okay, we'll just work with it as we go. But let's see what else is here. I'd rather have Milrow than Dart. I don't blame you. I mean, Milrow has a lot of upside. Now Milrow has very tiny hands, and I usually don't care about those kind of measurements, but it already kind of looks like he has issues controlling the football. And with tiny hands like that, I just can't. I could just see some issues arise with that. Um, the throwing is just not good. Well, even going back to the year before, I would say Adebo played really, really well. He's been a good corner. Even as a rookie, he was a solid guy. So I'm not really concerned about his level of play. The only concern with Paulson Adebo is that he's coming off of an injury. He's coming off of an injury. He is. That's really it. He uploaded a video of him doing a backflip, so it looks like he's doing pretty well. But that's the only issue. He's coming off of an injury, but he is 25 years old. Good corner, could still get better, could ascend into that elite level of corner. But right now, if we can get a top 15 level player, top 15 level corner, top 12 guy, I would definitely take that every time. Did my opinion of them change because they were pursuing Rodgers? Not really, because I mean they don't really have many options here. They have to compete this year. They have to compete this year. They're in a bad spot. So I'm not really upset that they would, go after Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers last year, I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers at all, but Aaron Rodgers last year threw for almost 4,000 yards, decent amount of touchdowns, and not many interceptions. So he still can go out and produce. I think Dable just wants to show like proof of concept of like, I can go out there and get decent production from a quarterback. So he was one of their best shots at that. Him and Matthew Stafford were probably the two best shots at Dable getting some production from the position. And just here we go. I cannot get this camera to come back on. Let's see. Giants organization or goat jokes can't sign anyone. Yeah, I mean, I think we got who we wanted so far. Um, the offensive linemen that I would be targeting are still on the board. So I don't think we've lost out on anybody yet, besides maybe Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields. But if you're paying Justin Fields 20 million, then I mean, what are you paying Aaron Rodgers? You paying him 40, 50, 40? I mean, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, for a 1 year rental old quarterback. We don't even have the cap space to pay a guy 40 million on a 1 year deal, or 40 million on a, you don't want to continue to put dead cap, on there. I just don't think that makes any sense. Let's see if I can get this webcam working. I can't tell. I couldn't tell you what's going on with this. But like I said, as I continue to kind of troubleshoot with this, I'm gonna pull up a ton of names here of guys that I'm looking at every position. So I'll start off. See if I can start off. I'll start off at edge. You got Charles Omenihu, 7 sacks last year, 18 quarterback hits. I wonder if he ended up going back. As I'm going through this, I made this list a little while ago, so I'm going to be looking at these players to make sure that they didn't go back to school here. Okay, so it looks like he's still free. So you got Charles Omenihu here, coming from the Kansas City Chiefs. 7 sacks last year, 18 quarterback hits, 14.9% pressure rate. I think, listen, that'd be a really great addition here. That pressure rate is really great. And even if he's just your third edge rusher, I'd be excited about that. Anthony Nelson from Tampa Bay, 6 sacks last year, 12.3% pass rush win rate, 81.3 PFF contain rate. So solid against the run. Long arms. That's another option. Um, so looking at these names here at Edge, I think there's a couple that we could have on really manageable deals. And these deals probably aren't going to happen until like next week. these budget kind of signings aren't probably going to happen until next week. Defensive tackles, I think Sheldon Rankins already got signed somewhere, but BJ Hill is an option, the former Giant. Um, Javon Kinlaw went to Washington. That stinks. But those are some options there. Offensive lineman, James Daniels is an option there at right guard. Austin Corbett, another guard guy who can also play center. Yeah, Greeny, I'm still working on trying to get that fixed. For some reason, we are just completely offline with this camera. I'm gonna try to close out of OBS and come back in. But yeah, I'm really looking Greeny at re-signing Ojolari too. I would welcome signing Ojolari again because he played very, very well last year. And some spots, just being that third edge rusher, he came in and really just applied some pressure. Yeah, I'm not understanding what's going on here with the camera, but I may just cut this off. We might just go we might just throw Paulson Adebo or somebody on the screen because we're not getting anything on the camera. Let's throw the thumbnail on the screen and we'll just talk through everything. So hopefully you all can see this thumbnail and we'll just go from there. So, where was I? I was going through offensive linemen. I had some guys, Austin Corbett, James Daniels, Jedrick Wills. He's probably a starting tackle though, so I doubt we probably bringing him in. Another guy, Aaron Banks, a guard that I'm looking for out of San Francisco. Um, Trenton Brown, that's another tackle. So, hopefully we can find some kind of a swing tackle this free agency. And then also someone that can come in and play guard, someone that can be some depth at center, because it seems like they're not bringing back GVR. Cornerbacks, we ended up going out and getting Paulson Adebo. So I won't speak too much on my list I had there. DJ Reed was at the top of my list. I think Reed ended up getting paid to go somewhere else. I think he ended up getting 16 million, but he's like 2 years young, 2 years older than Paulson Adebo. Quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, um, Marcus Mariota, bargain bin guys, Mac Jones. And then you look at guys like Jameis Winston. You look at guys like Justin Fields is gone. But then you look at Russ and Aaron Rodgers. So, there's not many guys. Minshew is an option. But if you really take a look at this market, I mean, there aren't many guys that could possibly be, long-term options at quarterback or, quarterbacks that are really gonna, as Jerry Jones said about Tony Romo when Dak Prescott got in there, quarterbacks that can really take over and drive the bus. There's not many of those, but there are quarterbacks that I think can run an offense. Like Marcus Mariota, I think can run an offense. Joe Flacco, at least last year, can run an offense. Also, top tier mentor for whatever rookie quarterback gets in there. Kirk Cousins will be another great mentor, but I don't think he can play the position anymore. Now I'll give him a year. Maybe this upcoming year he'll come out and play better because he's coming, another year off of that Achilles injury. But Kirk Cousins will be a great mentor. Um, let's see. Jacoby Brissett manages the game, but he could. I can see Jacoby Brissett very easily falling into the trap that all of these Giants quarterbacks have fallen into, which is just boring football, not making mistakes, but not scoring any points at all. So I'm looking to pay a quarterback anywhere from like 5 million to like 17, 18 million. I just can't justify paying a guy big money because if you spread that money out, you're gonna have dead money because next year you're going to want another quarterback. And if you pay him for 1 year, then that just hampers everything because that means you can't really that means you're pushing a bunch of other contracts out just to get that cap number to fit under your cap. And I'm sitting here refreshing everything. Josh Palmer is the newest addition to the Bills. Let's see what else here. The Broncos are signing Talanoa Hufanga. So that's a safety off the board there. I don't think the Giants are going to do anything but bring back Pinnock. What's going on, Mark? With things moving slow, I'm not sure what kind of sign it is. I mean, I think right now, if it depends what you want out of this free agency. If you wanted the Giants to go out there and get Aaron Rodgers, who I have in this screen, and I just have him here because he's been talked about a lot as a possible option. But if you just have them out here looking, to sign Aaron Rodgers, then you're probably going to be disappointed because it looks like he's going to the Steelers, which have a much better team, with much more competitive. It makes sense that he'd want to go there. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that he would want to go there. But if that was your measure of it, then you're not going to get what you want. Now, Mark, the thing is, the offensive line, I would love for them to go out and get one of these guards. I'd love for them to go out and get one of these guards, and I want them to get a tackle that they feel is a low end starter or a high end backup. And I don't know what that list looks like right now because I have some tackles there. I don't think Jedrick Wills will be your swing tackle. I don't think these tackles I have on my list, not James Daniels, I don't think these guys I have on my list are low end swing tackle. I mean, are swing tackles, but we should get a guy in here that can play swing tackle for us because it seems like Evan Neal is going to be experimenting with a guard. So if we bring in a big money guard and Evan Neal's playing guard, then Evan Neal is just not going to play. If he's not going to play, I don't want Evan Neal. I mean, can I get mad at Evan Neal at swing tackle? Because last year when he came in at swing tackle or right tackle, he looked pretty good. He looked solid there. Now, I don't want him at left tackle, and I don't want Josh Azudu out there. And poor Josh Azudu, he's been, continuously put in bad positions where he was drafted to play guard. And is Josh Azudu is playing tackle every year, getting destroyed, and they continue to throw him out there. So I think the Josh Azudu experiment is over. He's a bust. And the saddest part is we don't know if Josh Azudu would have been a great guard for us or not because he never got to play it. Never got to play guard. So it seems like they're gonna move Neil to right guard. And what does that say for whoever's playing right guard as far as who we sign in free agency? Because if Neil, I think it's over for Neil. I just don't see an option where he's going to continue to be your option as a starter unless there's an injury. And then yeah, I mean this is my biggest issue is because the Giants offensive line when Andrew Thomas was healthy, when GVR was out there, Illuminor was on the other side, you had Runyon, you had I always want to call him Weston Richburg, but you got JMS in the middle. The line was playing pretty solid. Now they had a couple breakdowns here and there, but no more than every other offensive line in the league. The line looked great. Like Daniel Jones is back there standing for like 5-6 seconds. And then Andrew Thomas goes down. And then Azudu comes in there and then it's just a mess. So we have to have somebody that can play left tackle at an NFL level, at the very least. At least let him be a low end starting NFL level that can play tackle when we know it's going to happen when Andrew Thomas gets hurt. And it's like a guy of Andrew Thomas's level at left tackle, you don't trade him because who trades away a franchise left tackle? But at the same time, he doesn't play for us. He doesn't finish seasons for us. It always derails our season. And that's the thing, do you go out there and get a vet center? That's why I mentioned who was it? James Daniels? Not James Daniels. I think Austin Corbett. One of these guys has experience at center that I have noted. Um, yeah, Corbett. He's played center. So maybe you go out and get Corbett and throw him at center. Because do you move do you move on from JMS this quickly or do you give him another year? Because I would say he was, okay as a rookie. And then a little bit disappointing, probably around the same as a second year player, which is not what you want. So if we can get this guy, to play some better football and use that athleticism that he has, then that could be great. But if not, when do you move on? Is it this year or do you give him 4 years? Or I mean, what 3 years playing center and then you make your decision? My problem with JMS at guard is I'm not sure he can play guard. I think his ideal position, like he's a perfect center, like as far as his build. And when I say perfect, I mean like for him being a smaller player on that line, you can really only get away with that playing center. I don't think he can play guard. And I don't think he's like a big problem at guard. It's just if there are breakdowns on his right or left side, he's not going to be an asset at that point. He needs strong, huge guards and tackles around him. That's really what he needs. Because once Andrew Thomas went out, Runyon wasn't playing the same because he was worried about Josh Azudu and worried about the other guy that we had out there playing left tackle. So he was concerned about that. He wasn't playing as well. And then since he's not playing as well, you got JMS not playing well. And part of that could just be like, you know, JMS is just a young player who has been in a horrible situation who never got to develop because he's always having to compensate for all these players around him. JMS has some pretty nice tools. I mean, he moved well. My only problem has always been for these centers on the Giants is the strength. The strength is a problem, but the mobility was there, the IQ was there, everything was there. And a lot of times, strength ends up not mattering as much for center. But for me, for the Giants, I need a center that you can get behind and he's just going to maul people. And we haven't had that in a very long time. Going back to Weston Richburg, what's going on, Big Blue in the Bronx? Like I said, I was on with Big Blue in the Bronx on Saturday, and we talked a little bit about I think it was DJ Reed that I talked about earlier, and we ended up going out and getting Paulson Adebo, who I think is just as good and younger. Tevin Jenkins will be great. Tevin Jenkins, I mean, his college tape is so fun to watch. The dude is just a bully. He's just a bully. You're talking about JMS? Yeah, I would say when JMS is on his game, he's average, which I can deal with. If the rest of the offensive line is playing decent football, all you really need is average players on the offensive line. If all of them are average, you're fine. What you don't need are just horrible players there. And when you have horrible players on there, the average players start to play bad. Haven't signed a kicker. We signed Paulson Adebo at corner. 3 years, 18 million per, 54 million total. Like I said, I read off some advanced metrics at the beginning. He's in the top 15 in pretty much everything out of 64 starting cornerbacks. So really good signing. Looking at his tape, really good man corner, physical corner, great at the point of the catch, which is a big issue that we had here. So I think he'll immediately help us. Decent against the run. And basically all of our weaknesses, he's coming in and he's shoring that up. I don't think Travis Hunter is off the table. because you can never have enough corners, first off. And then second of all, they might just say, listen, we have corners. We drafted you. We want you to play wide receiver. You can be our fourth corner. You can be our slot corner, maybe, but I wouldn't throw him at slot, with all that tackling, with him playing both sides. So maybe you throw him at your fourth corner. And if a guy gets hurt, he's your guy. But at wide receiver, you might just want to leave him there. The talent just may be there, and you just might want to leave him there. And then if you do that, you know, at that point, would you consider taking Ted McMillan, trading back 3 or 4 spots and taking Ted McMillan instead because you think he's the number one wide receiver, or taking Luther Burden because you think he's the number one or number two wide receiver? So, you have a lot to think about there. Yeah, and Drew Phillips is our corner, is our slot. And I'm not even that completely slipped my mind. I want some slot depth, but I think Drew Phillips is there at slot. I think he's gonna stay in there at slot. So, at that point, does Travis Hunter just take Deontay Banks' job? Does he take his job? Because if Deontay Banks plays a full season like how he played last year, he's not a starting cornerback. And if he's not a starting cornerback, then maybe you do just slide Travis Hunter into that spot. Oh yeah, Deontay Banks is your number two corner right now. I think it wouldn't make sense to not be worried, but he's got to pass a physical. And he uploaded some videos of him doing backflips and stuff. So he looks like he's healthy. He's got to pass a physical, like I said. Um, and if he can do that, then I'm great. If he's good, then we got a good player. We're hearing that the Giants have now tried to, they're trying to put together a deal to move up to number one for a quarterback. So it could be that they really want Cam Ward and they'll settle for Shador Sanders at 3. Or it could be that they don't think Shador Sanders is a first round pick. It could be that they just don't think he's a first round pick and they won't take him and they would pass on him. It could be that they would just pass on him and they would just take who they believe is the best player at any position in the draft. If that happens, then I think Travis Hunter is right there at the top. I would take Abdul Carter over anybody else in this draft besides quarterback because I think he's the best, he's the most impactful player. So, if he's there, I'm taking him 100 times out of 100. But if Abdul Carter is gone, which I'm expecting that one of those top two teams will take him and the other will probably take Cam Ward, then, Travis Hunter's there at the top of the list. Mason Graham, Will Johnson, you're not taking Ted McMillan there. So I would think it would be between Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, maybe, and he's coming off an injury too, and then Mason Graham. Yeah, I don't care about any antics at all. I don't care about any of it. I mean, I don't think that either one of those quarterbacks are like the type that would like really mess things up off the field. I don't see that happening. I mean, listen, that's an option to consider. He could be a guy that would succeed in a dome. Um, I don't think the arm strength will be a problem in the win, but it is something to consider. Like I said, I haven't seen him throw the ball in MetLife Stadium because MetLife doesn't just have wind; they have swirling wind. So, I mean, I haven't seen him throw it in the stadium, and if that's any kind of a concern, then you might that might be something that the Giants are thinking of. And yeah, like I said, Colorado had a ton of wind, um, but they don't have the swirling wind. But I really don't think arm strength is going to be a problem for Shador. I think most of the time people won't really notice the arm strength. I don't think that it's something that limits him. Again, on Alex's stream, Big Blue in the Bronx, we talked about this, and I think the thing that makes the most sense here is going out and just bringing back Jason Pinnock. I mean, looking at the safety landscape, your top safeties, Holland, Bynum, um, what's the other guy's name? Huafunga from the 49ers. Two of those guys are already signed. Holland is going to get paid a ton of money. I think what makes the most sense is just bring back the guy you had that was playing solid. Oh yeah, he's 100% more polished. He throws a very catchable ball. He throws a ball that's on time. There's nothing wrong. I don't really see, like I said, arm strength and zip as an issue for him. I mean, people have kind of pushed the narrative to this point for Shador, like he's Chad Pennington. And he does not have an arm that just limits. He just doesn't have that. Now, is he a guy that has a strong arm? Like, on a scale from 1 to 5, is he a guy that's 4 or 5? No. I say he's about a 3. Tennessee could very well pick a pass rusher. But also look at what they have at quarterback. There's no way that you just can't convince me that Tennessee just says like we think that Cam Ward can be a good NFL quarterback, and we're gonna just move forward with Will Levis. I just can't see that happening. Like unless they go out and get a Sam Darnold or an Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or one of these quarterbacks, I just cannot see them saying we're just gonna move forward with getting move forward with Will Levis. Unfortunately, unlimited. Darius Slayton does not want to be a Giant. He's not coming back. I think it makes sense to re-sign Slayton too, but I don't think he's coming back. He's looking to first off get more opportunity, and I think the Giants want to add some more receivers that they want to get some playing time. They obviously want Wandale Robinson at least for now to be wide receiver too. They may take a guy like Jaden Higgins to be your wide receiver too in the draft, but with all of that, I just can't see Slayton wanting to come back here again. Like he's saying here with bad quarterback play, and also he's very close to Daniel Jones, and he feels like Daniel Jones got a raw deal here, which he did. He was a bad player, but he still got a raw deal here, and Slayton was ready to go the second that they traded Daniel Jones like that or released him. He was ready to go at that point. And I wish him the best. He's looking like he's going to make over 10 million a year. I don't think it makes sense for the Giants to pay their, fourth or third wide receiver 10 million a year when they can go out and get somebody in the draft. But I'd love to bring him back, on a reasonable deal if they actually used him and he actually had a quarterback. But everything we're seeing now is that the Giants are just that they're trying to move up to take Cam Ward. Which is funny because last week the Giants were just so infatuated with Giants were so infatuated with. I just saw something pop up, and I'll get to that. It seemed last month that the Giants were really infatuated with Shador, and this month it seems like everybody's trading up. Everybody's trying to trade up on the Giants to get Cam Ward. But anyway, what I just saw here, the Giants and veteran defensive tackle Roy Robertson Harris have agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal. He got cut by Seattle last week. There we go. 2 years, 5 million per. Roy Robertson Harris. Um, I've seen the guy. I know who he is, but I can't tell you I've seen how he played. I can't tell you I've seen how he played last year. So what I'm going to do is just a quick search to see what I can pull up for him, pull up on him, just to see what some of his like advanced stats were and everything like that. Yeah, Hyatt was a waste, man. Hyatt he just doesn't have the ability to maneuver side to side to play wide receiver in the NFL. Um, so here's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Roy Robertson Harris. I mean, they got to think something of him because they gave him 5 million per year. I mean, when you say not aggressive in spending, who did you want to go out and get? Because I'm not sure how much I agree. I'm not sure. I'm interested to see who you wanted to go out and get because the Giants have like 40 something million in cap space. So it's not like they have like, I think they have like maybe almost 60, but it's not like they have like, I don't think they should go out and just spend everything in the bank. Uh, I think, I don't think he's a complete scrub, but I don't think that he was as good. I don't think he's very good. Now, was he open at times? 100%. Could he have had, a ton of big plays? Yes, but I feel like if Daniel Jones was good enough to start throwing those passes, and then defenses started to scheme against Hyatt and not give him those open plays like that, I think at that point he wouldn't have been able to do much because Hyatt really has issues coming off the line of scrimmage. He has bad issues getting off the line of scrimmage. He has bad issues at the top of his route. He's got to continue to improve. But I 100% agree that the situation has made him look like he's not even an NFL player. I think he's more like a fourth receiver that comes in that can make that big play. But hopefully that's what he can fill in as when we bring one more guy in. You got Malik Neighbors, you got Wando Robinson, you got whatever player, and you got Hyatt that comes in and stretches the field. I completely understand, but like I said, I mean, you also got guys in the league like John Ross who are going to get open behind the defense because of that speed. And you saw he made big plays for us, but at the same time, after a while, defenses can kind of figure that out. So anyway, we got some numbers on Roy Robertson Harris. So 2024, 52 PFF grade. That's 132nd out of 219. So basically, Wright's kind of down in the second in the back half of the league. Um, let's see, 16 pressures. Yeah, I don't see. There's not much on him here. He's a rotational player. Um, I can't really find much that gets me excited here. I would have to take a look at his tape, but for now, I'm not really seeing much. Let's see. Okay, so as you was saying, I'm saying aggressive in general, not just for this year. Besides, it's already a rumor that players say this organization is. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, listen, the organization cannot be viewed in a positive light right now. If you go to the Giants right now, and let's say you're a quarterback, let's say you're a cornerback, let's say you're one of these positions that heavily depend on scheme. Let's say you love Brian Dable, and the first year doesn't go how you want it to go because you're adjusting to a new spot. After that year, Brian Dable is going to be fired. You're not knowing who the next coach is going to be. You don't know if that next coach is going to like you. You don't know if that coach is going to be a scheme fit for you. So it makes perfect sense why players wouldn't want to come here. Also, the same thing with the GM. The next GM can come in next year and tear your contract up. It's not a good spot. And yeah, like I said a couple minutes ago, Justin Fields is on the Jets. 2 years, $40 million. I think that's much too much money for Justin Fields. That's just my opinion, but I think they very much overpaid him. Hopefully, he proves me wrong. Has a good season there, but That's a ton of money for a guy that had, I mean, like what, 6, 7 good games? Yeah, Lattimore is pretty good, but I'm happy with Paulson Adebo. A lot younger than Lattimore, and I think can have the type of impact that Lattimore can have, especially at this stage in his career. Especially at this stage, I think. Listen, the draft has been an issue for Joe Shane, and I'm not even saying that I want him to stay here as GM, but this approach I 100% agree with. I 100% agree with this approach. Go out and get yourself a starting level corner. You don't have to pay the guy $25 million a year. Go out and get you, a rotational defensive tackle. I still got to research this guy to see if he's any good because we gave him $5 million a year. So there's always that signing that the Giants make every year where I'm like, no matter who the GM is, where I'm like, did we really have to give this guy $5 million US a year and he's not any good? Like, is this one of those signings? I gotta look at his tape because from his advanced stats, it doesn't look like we should be paying this guy $5 million a year. Doesn't look like it. But maybe he is that guy. But only thing I think we need in free agency at this point is some depth at edge. Bring back Ojolari or go out and get another low cost guy. Bring back Pinnock or another safety you feel good about. And then on top of that, we need an offensive lineman. If we can get a starting caliber, good offensive guard, I really feel like that's all we needed in free agency. And then also think of this is like New York has taxes. Like New York has a lot of taxes. Like New York has a lot of taxes. You can go to Texas, you can go to Tennessee, you can go to Florida, you can go to a lot of these places and not even pay any taxes. So, on top of the taxes, the weather, a lot of these players are from the South. They don't want to be in the cold at any time of the year when they don't have to. On top of all of these things, the team is horrible. Like the Giants are literally the worst team in the league. Their coach and their GM are on the chopping block. So any player that's coming here is coming here for the money. It's just that simple. Nobody's coming here because they respect the Giants as an organization. They're coming here for the money. I think Brian Burns can step it up, but I'm also fine with how he played the majority of the season because I really feel like the guy was underrated all season. I mean, for me, he showed up. He was playing through a groin injury the majority of the season, and even then, he was still impactful. He wasn't consistent, but hopefully, coming off of this offseason, he's healthy and he can stay consistent, not being injured. But when he was healthy, I really feel like Brian Burns showed that he was worth that deal. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Doesn't it piss me off as a fan when you know that we're here to see mediocre signings for the same results? Listen, all we can all we can do is hope for the best. We can't make any of these signings, but I 100% understand. I 100% understand you. I don't think Adebo is going to be a bad signing, but I'm not really sold on this Roy Robertson Harris signing yet. Let's see. He's got his best season for Roy Robertson Harris was 2023, 2 years ago. He had 3.5 sacks in 17 games. Wasn't a starter. He was a rotational guy, but he had 3.5 sacks. So that's not horrible. Um, but not exactly the best. 14.8% bull rush win rate in 2024 through week 5. So That's a pointless stat. Over five the first 5 weeks of the season, he was doing very well last year with the bull rush. Um, and then a 54 pass rush grade. I think that's from PFF. But at the end of the day, the problem here is the offense. It's not the two signings they made on defense. It's not even really the offensive line because even you saw Drew Lock was able to go back there and throw for 1 billion yards and 1 billion touchdowns and have fun. I mean, you saw that. So the offensive line isn't really that bad. Like the offensive line isn't really that bad. The problem here, the problem here has always been the quarterback position, and that's really what it is. Now, of course, a couple years ago it was the offensive line too, but this past year it was the quarterback position. We have to score points. Doesn't matter what we do on defense, we got to score points. Let's see. And Aaron Banks is expected to sign with the Packers. So that was my top guard that I wanted, that I thought was a good, average per year we would be able to get. And Aaron Banks is headed to the Packers. So that stinks. That stinks. So we lost out on Aaron Banks. Another rumor, the Titans are among teams interested in quarterback Russell Wilson. So again, if the Titans sign a guy like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, that could be that could be a win for us. Roy Robertson Harris is who we signed. Let's see. Right. Let me double check now. Pretty sure his name is Roy Robertson Harris. That's what I see here. Yep, that's what it is. There's a Roy Robertson Smith. No, there I don't find one. But yeah, there we signed Roy Robertson Harris. No guard signings. If they don't sign a guard, I think I'm done. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm sure they were in on Aaron Banks. Let's see how much he got paid though. Because what I'm seeing now is they're saying that he got paid way too much. So let's see how much they paid Aaron Banks. I would have loved to get Aaron Banks on this team, but seems like the Packers opened up the piggy bank, and he is, oh my gosh, 4 years, 77 million for Aaron Banks. Um, I'm sorry, no, thank you. That is 19.2 million per year for Aaron Banks. 19.2 million per year for Aaron Banks. Yeah, I'm not I think Aaron Banks is a good guard, but I wouldn't say he's a top guard, an elite guard. So I understand why the Giants may have backed out of that because that is a ton of money for Aaron Banks. So the next wave of guys we got Tevin Jenkins, Will Freeze or Fries, and Brandon Scherf in his advanced stage. But I cannot blame the Giants for not wanting to pay $20 million to a guard. And listen, again, Joe Shane has not done a great job here, but I don't think we can attack the guy for not wanting to screw over the next GM that's going to be here if he loses his job. Like he can go out there and pay $20 million for Aaron Banks and pay this much and go out there and sign Milton Williams and buy a playoff team for a year, maybe. But if you, it's not going to be sustained success. What's the most amount of money I'd be willing to give to Freeze? Um, and I still don't know how to pronounce his name. If we sign him, I guess we'll have to figure that out. Because I hear people say Freeze and I hear people say Fries. But the most money I give to him, I mean, again, the guy paid. He played 5 games last year. He played 5 games last year, so I mean, I'm not sure that I can give a guy a huge investment off of 5 games of really, really, really great football. I mean, I guess I'd go to 13 or 14 million. I still think that will be overpaying him. But maybe you go honestly, we paid Runyon 10 million and Runyon was more proven than him. I would say maybe give him the highest I give this guy just in free agency sake is about 13 million. And it's looking like that's where he's going to come in at. Jenkins and Fries. It's looking like they're going to both come in here at around 13 or 14 million. I haven't really seen anybody here rooting for Aaron Rodgers being a Giant here. So I think you're good. I think you're good there. But the guy that's at the top of my board right now is probably Tevin Jenkins. Listen, you can't pay a guard $20 million to go out there and win 4 games next year or five. Like, I don't think you want to pay him 20 million. Like the Packers are a playoff team. They're a team that is going to be competing every year. They can afford to make those kind of things, but I believe you can get a guard the tier of Aaron Banks. First off, I think you can get a guy in the same tier right now with Tevin Jenkins. Second off, I think you can get another guy in the draft. Now the draft is more of a crapshoot, but again, I think you can get Tevin Jenkins for 13, 14 million. So I mean, I wouldn't want to pay the guy $20 million a year. I hope not. I hope not. But like I said, if you take a look at the Giants' offensive line last year, they were not the problem. Now, were there a couple games last year where Josh Azudu or that other backup left tackle was a huge issue? Yes. But signing Aaron Banks isn't going to fix that issue. The problem with the Giants is the tackles. We need to get better at guard for just for getting better sake. But Greg Van Roten was not a horrible guard for us, and we're going to get an upgrade over him. So we really need a swing tackle. That's really the problem with the offensive line. Like the offensive line last year did not prevent us from competing. What prevented us from competing was the quarterback play and the receivers not getting open and the running game not being consistent enough, especially down the stretch. But I think if we had a quarterback that could throw the ball down the field on a consistent basis, that would open up things for the run game. But as far as pass pro, we were just fine. Who are the other defensive tackles still available? I don't think they'll go out and sign another guy. It seems like I hope this isn't it, but I don't think so. You said that's a target in the draft. Yeah, I'd love to do that, but rookies are so unreliable. It's like it's almost a promise that Andrew Thomas is going to get hurt. So when he gets hurt, do you want a rookie in there that's played that's played no games that's going to come out there? That's what makes me want to go sign a guy. Now, if this rookie is just great, I mean, if he comes in and looks solid as a rookie, as a swing tackle, then at that point, you got to start thinking about him being your long term right tackle. Just checking to see I'm not missing any more updates here. What's wrong with Pitts? I just don't think our tight end room needs much more traffic. I mean, I don't think Pitts has shown to be a security blanket for the quarterback on a consistent basis. Now he hasn't had good quarterbacks, but I think he's been kind of underwhelming. He has some drops. And then on top of that, I like let's give Theo Johnson some time. Um, we got Chris Manhurst back. They want to use him as a blocker. That's fine. Bellinger, I think is just fine, but I don't think we'll see. If they were to bring in a guy like Kyle Pitts, I'll just say we'll see. Maybe they have a way of using him that's effective, but we'll see. Salary cap isn't going to allow it. Yeah, that might be possible. I mean, because listen, you're completely right. To get a swing tackle, you got to pay on the low end. You're paying $4 or $5 million for a swing tackle. So we can afford that, but it's just about who's out there. Draft best defensive tackle available, and a second, pick up another defensive tackle in free agency. Got to deal with that Eagles line and Saquon for years to come. Um, because right now you got Dex, you got some other guys on the roster that were here last year. You got Roy Robertson Harris, who we just signed, and hopefully a rookie. So I mean, I think that's fine. Would you go out and sign another defensive tackle? Probably because you need some numbers, but I don't think it'll be anything significant. But you got to get a defensive tackle in here from the draft. It is too packed of a draft to not get a defensive tackle in the second or third round and not get a running back, in the fourth, fifth, third round, somewhere around that. It is much too stacked of a class at those two positions. Yeah, I don't understand why we just abandoned Bellinger. We just completely gave up there. Allen no longer plays the run. Jonathan Allen. Yeah, I would love to get Jonathan Allen here. Maybe if he comes here, he'll play the run. Maybe. Maybe playing against Dex, playing next to Dex would help him get some motivation to play the run. All right, let's see again if we're missing anything. The Twitter app is just absolutely falling apart. Okay, Nacho and Roy. Nacho is gone, I think. I don't think they're bringing back Nacho because I think right now, who do the Giants have on their roster? I mean, do we have like the DJ Davidsons of the world? I think we do. Um, I think they're gonna just have a guy like Jordan Riley, DJ Davidson out there as depth, and then they're gonna sign a guy and they signed Roy Robertson Harris, and I think they'll just draft a guy that they hope can be a starter next to Dex. Because who they just signed is a rotational defensive tackle. The name to look out for if we are going to release anybody is Bobby Okereke. Now, I hope we don't do that. I hope if we moved on, we traded him. But he's taking up a lot of cap space, and he did not have a good year last year. Let's see. Rap sheet. The Texans are finalizing a trade of Laramie Tunsil to hey, left hand up. Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. It just gets better. It just gets better. It just gets better for the Commanders. Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. Uh, and Houston gets a haul of draft picks. Wow. So the Texans traded away their franchise left tackle. I'm sure they got some picks back, but they traded away their franchise left tackle. And the Commanders, wow. I bet if we traded Andrew Thomas to the Commanders, all of a sudden he would stay healthy. That's something else right there. Major trade. I'm waiting to see what the picks are for that. I'm waiting to see what the picks are there for Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders from the Texans. So that really helps that offensive line out who already outplayed how well they were projected to play. They had a rookie out there playing left tackle that they'll probably move to right tackle. And if they don't move him to right tackle, he'll probably he'd probably be one of the better swing tackles in the league. Let's see. Let's see who they had playing. They had Wiley playing. Yeah, they'll probably move Brandon Coleman, their rookie from last year, to right tackle, and Laramie Tunsil is going to slide in at that left tackle. Yeah, McFadden isn't going anywhere. All right, have a good one, Jay. Yeah, McFadden isn't going anywhere. He was our best linebacker last year. I just don't see them. I just don't see them moving on from him. He's got to shore up those tackles though. Yeah, McFadden is playing. He was playing pretty well. He just got to, like I said, shore up those tackles, shore up that tackling. Where did Allen go? Allen. Which Allen? And I know it's somebody that I don't know why I'm blanking on that. Which Allen though? Jonathan Allen. Okay, perfect. Yeah, he didn't go anywhere yet. I'm pretty sure he didn't go anywhere yet. Oh man, the Giants the Giants need to take notes from the Texans. Like the Texans just trade away their franchise left tackle, and I'm sure they're gonna get back multiple picks. Like I'm guessing they'll probably get a first round pick there. Wow, they didn't. A second rounder, a second and third rounder next year. Laramie Tunsil must be back on the drugs. Laramie Tunsil must be back in the gas mask. Because I don't know how they pulled that deal off. What a robbery. I mean, what a robbery. I'd rather have Andrew Thomas too, but I would rather Andrew Thomas stay on the field. I would rather Andrew Thomas stay on the field. But Laramie Tunsil, like I said, they got back. They traded away their franchise left tackle, and they got back a second rounder, a fourth rounder next year. They didn't even get a second round this year. They traded away a second and fourth next year, and a third rounder this year. Like basically, Washington, they got Laramie Tunsil and a fourth round pick, and Houston got Washington's fourth round pick next year, and their second round pick next year, and a third round pick this year. So they traded Tunsil for a three, a two, and swapping fourth round picks. There's no way that Laramie Tunsil, I mean, at that point, they must just not have wanted to pay him because that's a robbery in my eyes. That's a robbery. I mean, this is the only thing that makes sense. He has to be back in the gas mask because how how are they trading away a franchise left tackle for a two, a four next year, and a three this year? Yeah, I mean, listen, the Commanders got their franchise left tackle now. He's 31 years old. Tackles, I mean, play into their mid to late 30s, so he could play 6, 7, 8 more years. Crazy trade right there. I can't believe all it took. I mean, at that point, like we could have traded away a two, a four, and a three. Like we could have traded that away, and not like they would have traded them to us. But I mean, I would have given that up for Laramie Tunsil. I mean, I guess they would have traded him to us because they're not the Commanders. But you all get what I'm saying. Like, I would have taken, I would have given away a two, a four, and a three, and thrown Laramie Tunsil a right tackle. Like, who knew that we were just giving up? They were just giving out players like that. Fields and Garoppolo are off the board. I mean, like I said, Fields got $20 million. Garoppolo is, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, man, like that guy is worse than Andrew Thomas. He really can't play. He can't stay on the field. It's the reason that he re-signed and went back to the team that he was already on, is because I doubt that anybody was really interested in how he can't stay healthy. If he had a market, there's no way that Jimmy Garoppolo would have stayed on the Rams. So Russell Wilson is, like I said, being talked about as a target for the Titans. He's being talked about as a target for um, the Giants, of course. But I'm thinking, if the Titans get Russell Wilson, there's a chance that they would move off of that pick for Cam Ward. Darnold signed somewhere. The Seahawks signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million deal. So about 33 mil per. Okay. I mean, that's a solid deal. Yeah, I mean, Omega, I can't justify throwing 33 million per year at a guy like Sam Darnold that did not do well at all in New York and had a great year with probably the best offensive coordinator, offensive mind in the league. I wasn't going to pay $20 million to Justin Fields. So I think your best course of action is getting a low money quarterback, Jameis Winston, somebody like that, and getting a quarterback in the draft, whether it be in a third round, second round, first round, wherever you take the guy, let him sit behind whoever you put out there and move from there, because we have got to control the cap. We cannot be overpaying these guys. I just can't do it. Giants and Titans are getting close to a deal. Maybe I'll stay on a little bit longer because it looks like the Giants and Titans are getting close to a deal. So if this deal goes through, we 100% know what the Giants are doing. And this is one of these Ricky accounts. There's like 40 Ricky accounts, and one of them is real. We don't know which one is real though. So I think that's a fake one. I think that's a fake one there. Like I said, there's an account that's like Ricky this, Ricky that. There's like 40 Ricky accounts, and only one of them is real. And I don't think that was a real one. So, but I have seen from legit sources that they are working on a deal. But the report that it was close is not real yet. According to who? Okay, yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah, like I said, I don't think that's a legit source because I went and checked, and that's not a reputable Ricky page. There's way too many Ricky pages on there. Um, yeah, I mean, I just don't have any problem with how Joe Shane is handling this. I don't want him to just throw money at guys trying to save his job because all that's going to do is hamper us. Maybe get us some wins this year, and next year, the year after, we'll just be, right back in the same spot. Because, like, look, if we go 4-13 next year, the cap will be healthy. We'll have our young core, and a new GM will come in here. Now, if next year we go, 8 wins, and then the year after the cap is messed up and the team is in bad health, and you go 4-13 the year after, you brought back Shane for another year for no reason. You're gonna fire him the year after. You just delayed things by a year. No matter what happens, the Giants are not putting together a Super Bowl team next year. So build it the right way. You got to get the draft picks right. You use free agency to supplement the draft. It doesn't matter who you go out there and sign in free agency. If you don't draft well, you're not going to succeed. And that's what he has to do. And that's been the problem is Joe Shane has made some decent complimentary free agency signings in his career. He just has missed in the draft. So hopefully that gets better this year. So yeah, I'm not seeing anything else coming in about what the Giants are doing today. Before I jump off though, it says that the 49ers and Chargers have interest in Jameis Winston. I don't think the 49ers would have interest in him. Maybe the Chargers though. He would be a nice backup there. But yeah, like I said, I'm not seeing anything else come in for now. If something ridiculous comes on, you'll see a video. But for now, I'm probably gonna jump off of here. For anybody who hasn't seen, the Giants have signed Paulson Adebo and Roy Robertson Harris. Paulson Adebo, I would say, is like a minus player as far as how good he is. Roy Robertson Harris is a guy that is a rotational defensive tackle. Has a little bit of pass rush to him, but isn't really a game changer in that rotation. But hopefully, fills out this roster well. And again, if we see anything come in, I'll jump on. I'm thinking we'll probably see a Giants Titans trade to that first overall pick, probably sometime this week or next week. So I'm gonna end it right now because I don't see much news coming in. But as always, like I said, we'll stay tapped in, and if we see something, we'll get it here on the channel. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully the Giants go out and get a guard. If we go out and get a guard, let's pay 14, 15 mil or less for a guard. Go out and get one of those guys. I'll feel great about this free agency.